soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
So, we finally have stretch goals for Battalion 1944. For those that didn't watch my previous first look video, I highly suggest you do so, but in brief, Battalion 1944 is a World War II shooter being built by Bulkhead Interactive, a British development team on the Unreal Engine for the Xbox One, PS4 and PC. Their goal is to create a shooter harking back to the good old days of World War II shooters, where Medal of Honor and Call of Duty ruled the scene. The developers chose to fund their creation with community help and have now amassed over £280,000 in funds, and that smashes their £100,000 target. And to celebrate this feat, they're now announcing some stretch goals. Their first goal was to employ a dedicated community manager by reaching £225,000 to keep press, media outlets, and the community informed on updates with the game. The team have already employed somebody to do this, and they'll be introducing him to the community soon. He'll be taking part in various different live streams that they're going to be able to show you guys what they're doing with the game once this Kickstarter finishes. The next goal, Enhanced Particle Effects, has also been surpassed at £250,000. This kind of implementation required more development time, and that comes with additional cost. This feature will allow the developers to create hyper-realistic smoke effects and explosions that wouldn't have been possible before. Again, the third goal has already been achieved at £275,000, and this means the developers will be adding a training ground. The training ground is being called Currahee Mountain Boot Camp, which is an inspiration from Band of Brothers, and players will be able to practice their movement and weapon recoil offline here. A cool feature, something that's being added to a lot of shooters nowadays, something I didn't really expect from Battalion. Now, as I mentioned, those previous 3 stretch goals have already been achieved, so we're now getting to the point where the following goals have not been achieved, and if more money is committed to the project, then we will unlock this stuff. So, first of all, if the Kickstarter reaches a fund of £300,000, the developers will be able to design and develop an extra map based on the events of D-Day, which will play as a competitive level. The developers have said this is something they'd really like to do, as it will present a challenge in balancing the gameplay overall. If the project reaches £325,000, British Forces soldiers will be added to the game. This will include character sets and weapons like the Lee Enfield bolt-action rifle and the Sten submachine gun. If £350,000 is amassed, more cosmetic items will be added to the game for you to customise your character and weapons. Now we're reaching really high. £400,000 brings the introduction of the Eastern Front, including Russian soldier models, weapons and more. £500,000 will allow the developers to create an offline mode called Behind Enemy Lines, where players will fight against waves and waves of enemy AI. £600,000 will see the addition of the Pacific Theatre, where we can fight with Japanese forces across maps that are set in Southeast Asia, China and the Pacific. And finally, if by some sheer miracle the Kickstarter reaches £1.2 million in the next 2 days, then Bulkhead will develop a single-player campaign for the game. Adding some context as to why this is going to cost so much, Bulkhead have said that there is no easy way to add a single-player campaign, and they are extremely expensive, and they want to make sure that it would be a good single-player campaign. There's no button you can just click to add single-player. It would cost a lot of time and a lot of money to make, which is why there's such a massive funding goal for it. Some of those stretch goals are really cool stretch goals, and I'd love to see the release of every single one of them. First of all, though, we have to remember that the first 3, the Community Manager, Enhanced Graphical Effects, and the Training Camp, have already been unlocked. But there are only 2 days left for the other goals to be reached. Right now, at the time of making this video, funding stands at £284,463, with just over 9,000 backers. If this is a project you are interested in, then you do still have a chance to go and back it. Follow the link that's in the description marked Kickstarter page, and you'll be taken to the site where you can still pledge anywhere from just £13, which is $20 or €20, to £630 if you've got a lot of spare money lying around. You can gain access to varying levels of rewards for backing the project. I myself have pledged £50, which is about $75 or about €70, something like that. I pledged that to the project and got myself access to the alpha and beta tests, along with a couple of other rewards as well. This seemed like the best reward overall for me, and £50 is probably what you'd spend on a game nowadays as well. I will warn you though, this is a Kickstarter campaign, so if you're not into giving money for something that's not going to come out for a long time, or may never come out, or maybe very different to what it looks like right now, then I completely understand if you don't want to back this project. But it's a World War II shooter, no one's done it for a while, and the team seems pretty genuine as well. It'd be really awesome to see the fund go all the way to the £300,000 mark to unlock the D-Day map, or even, if by some miracle, as high as 400,000, so the Eastern Front and the Russian presence could be developed too. And that would mean that we'd pass the stretch goal for the British forces to be added into the game as well. I'd love to see the Pacific Theatre at 600k, but that is extremely unlikely to happen. And that's really a shame, because the Pacific Theatre is not something that we've really focused on massively in previous World War II titles. It would be nice to see it here in an engine built in 2016, a game that looks really, really good. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you visit the Kickstarter page, that's linked in the description. Even if you don't pledge, go over there and check out what they're doing. They do have some really cool videos up, so you can see what they're all about. Leave me some thoughts down below, let me know your opinions on the stretch goals. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender.
The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory.